Ready? Great. Thanks everyone for coming. This is our September 13th, 2022 Public Safety Committee. I am here. Councilmember Fullerton and Councilmember Baldwin are both here. We have a report from East Pierce Fire and Rescue, who is not here. So we'll skip down to item number 2, page 11, Assistant Chief is what it says here, but we'll go to the actual chief.
Yeah, Chief.
Hello, Chief.
Did I get demoted?
Yeah. We'll go to work the fair now.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, and we have our monthly report, kind of the highlights, if you will. Another busy month for us. I think the biggest thing is the armed robbery we had at the Key Bank drive up. Person was using coach by male who got out of a car, stuck a gun in her face, took the money she out of the ATM and fled. Subsequently, did 3 more the same evening. Follow-up. Life was one, and I think Lakewood was the other. Did recover prints though at the Bonney Lake one, which was good. I haven't heard if we've got any hits on those yet, but it was quite a few DUIs this past month. Bang of the summer or what, but it was pretty busy. Back, you'll see the call for service in our national report there, the stats. We still continue to trend up in assaults, burglaries, larceny. Motor vehicle is 4 times what it was last year. Motor vehicle thefts, collisions twice what it was. Domestic violence up. Motor vehicle collisions are up. DUIs are way up. And our calls for service are trending about 30% higher than last year. So we have been extremely busy. The park we had, evidently Pierce County Security lost track, forgot how to count one day, and one of the hot days. So we had a huge brawl, 2 different brawls at the same time that the officers were able to break up. We had some retraining with Pierce County Security. We got them actually clickers so they can click people in. We got them stamped so if people leave to go to the restroom, they can stamp their hand. We got a color for Friday, a color for Saturday, and a color for Sunday. So after that, we didn't have any more issues. Done for the year after Labor Day. They were done. It was a pretty good year down there as far as behavior. We had that one. And I think we had one at the beginning of the season, which was similar, where they didn't cap it where they were supposed to. But other than that, the boat launch issue didn't turn out to be that big. I thought, as I reported at workshop, that I thought there would be a bigger issue with people parking boat trailers in neighborhoods, and it, thank God, didn't materialize. So, but we did have a lot of parking on the hot days into the neighborhoods. Parking we impounded, I would have ventured to guess probably a dozen cars, ticketed many more for the parking. But overall, it could have been a lot worse. And again, I want to thank you guys for taking the suggestion on the boat launch. Had we done a partial, it would have been doing that. It helped our folks out immensely. That is my report. I do have a couple of FYI items whenever you'd like me to give those.
Yeah, might as well.
First one, we were notified from Pierce County Department of Emergency Management that we were awarded a grant for a drone. So we've been seeking one of those for a couple of years, and they called us and said, hey, we got some money. Can you dust off your drone grant? So both us and Sumner received drones, and I want to say it's around $40,000 grant. So it's going to be a pretty high-speed drone. I asked Officer Green, who put in for the grant, if it would transport one of us, and he said no. But it does everything short of that. I guess it will deliver items. So if you have, somebody that's trapped out on the lake and you need to drop them a life vest, it can do that. It's got FLIR, if anybody knows what that is, forward-looking infrared. So we can send it out if we've got somebody hiding in the woods behind Safeway. We don't want to send the officers in. We can send the drone up, and it can get a heat signature, and it will broadcast back to our officers' laptops. Or in the fires, it would broadcast back to the EOC with Chuck's help, of course. But the capabilities are pretty amazing for the one that we were authorized for. So we haven't got the official letter yet. I was just given a verbal that we did receive the grant, so we're hoping to get it by the end of the year. Then, of course, training is going to take a while. Hopefully have the program up and running. get the equipment by end of this year. So we're pretty happy about that. We signed up again, the department did, to do the Washington Wears Pink campaign with the American Cancer Society. So we'll be having a kickoff here. I know they'll be out next Tuesday to kind of take a team photo. And we've authorized the officers to wear the pink badges again this year, the pins. And we will be doing a fundraiser, not trying to strong arm anybody, but just putting it out there. And again, for those that don't remember, we had quite a few of our ladies at the department, spouses, and we have some employees who are survivors of breast cancer, and we still have 2 that are currently battling breast cancer. Near and dear to our hearts, and we don't normally jump into on a bunch of causes, but this one hit pretty close to home for us. So we'll be doing that again. The official kickoff is October 1, and it'll go through the month of October. We'll be putting some stuff out on our social media, but I think the officers had a good time with it last year. We got a lot of comments on our pink badges, and Assistant Chief Boyle just asked if we could get detectives and our record staff pink polos. So they'll have the ability, if they want to do that, to purchase and wear pink polos for them. We'll have a few different things going on, but we will be doing that campaign again this year. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I do. Tell me more about the fundraising. Like what, you had mentioned the fundraising with the campaign.
It's basically what we do. We have a website, and that we'll put it out on social media. And if people are interested, they can
donate money.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people have actual fundraisers like golf tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm just a little awkward about doing that as a police department.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose we could, instead of giving tickets to people for the month, they can donate, but I don't think that'd be appropriate. So, we're not going to do any big fundraisers. We're just going to put it out there and solicit. If anybody feels like giving or they're touched by this, they can do it. We just want to show our support for the cause. And last year, I think we raised $1,800, close to $2,000. Our goal is $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't going to be an actual
just clicking on a link and then they can.
It'll just be a web page set up, and you can donate straight to the.
Okay, perfect.
I have a safety question, but I'm wondering if I should wait for open discussion or if this would be the time for me to.
Is it related to drones, or?
It's related to safety.
Okay, well, let's wait till we get to open
okay.
discussion. We'll stay on the report here. All right. Well, thank you, Chief. We'll go to report number 3, emergency management report. Regine, hello.
All right, hello. So, gosh, I've been so incredibly busy, just like everybody else the last couple of we have kicked off our comprehensive emergency management planning. So you will notice over the next couple of weeks, I'll be reaching out to several of you for around just our city capabilities and roles and watching for the email. Our Bonney Lake alert, we are so close, ready to launch it. Sadie actually finished updating the website for me. And this week we get to go through it together, make some final tweaks, and then we'll start the push out, work on some press release stuff, so we can get the public registered for the alert system. And also today I'm finalizing our internal staff list so that can get uploaded, so we can also use the system internally for emergency. So super exciting. It's been in the works for a while, and just some final pieces. I'm just kind of scrolling through here because a lot of this is for our EOC team, but I think the most exciting thing that we've been working on the last couple of months within the EPIC group is we are now working on EPIC-wide response thresholds and procedures. So, when we had the heat incident, we watched for the heat index of 101 before we opened a cooling center, but it was still a draft policy for us, and it was still very different from what our neighbors were doing. And so what we're trying to do is consolidate and coordinate those plans with one another. And so that way the whole EPIC region will be on the same page. We'll know this is the threshold when we'll open a cooling center. We'll know where those centers are opening, so we'll be better able to coordinate resources within the area. So it's a long time coming, and it's been phenomenal work with everyone. I think those are our biggest highlights for the last month and a half. I think of note, I'll just let you guys know it's National Preparedness Month. September is National Preparedness Month. So I'll be sending out an all staff email next week, mid-month, giving some information to some folks and some resources. And I am finalizing some planning around the Great Shakeout, which is next month on October 20th at a.m.
When will Bonney Lake Alert go live?
Goodness, I would love for it to go live by the end of this week. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
goal. But we also have a grant due this week that we'll talk about later. That is my goal, though.
Okay. And when's the Great Shake?
10:20 at 10:20.
Running to the Bulls, 7-7 at 7. Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions for her?
Yeah, I was wondering, so with the emergency alert system, is any of this like military grade or off grid? Like, did we lose complete blackout power, no nothing, like we've got no way of communicating, which has happened? Is there ways of getting out to the people and having them be able to find us?
That's a really good question. So the Bonney Lake Alert system is through Code Red, and so it utilizes, it can send messages through phone, email, text. It can also do TTY. So it sort of depends on what all goes out, right? So oftentimes maybe a phone call can't go through, but a text can. And so that's why it has multiple capabilities. What I'm doing right now is actually building capabilities around utilizing our ham radio operators. They're all volunteer. So we have a growing team. We currently have 6 individuals who utilize our radio room at the EOC. Actually,
Do we have training?
so we will be offering it. That's something that I'm working with them on. Yes, yep, because we want to grow the cadre that can work in the area, and actually, it's something that we're doing within the Epic region. Because we want more operators in the area that can move around, and so part of that we're doing is also identifying community hubs where people might go to look for information. That way, if we have a ham radio operator, we can position them at that hub, and they can receive information posted or whatever we decide to do. So it's I would say it's going to be step 2 of our emergency alert. A little different from the Code Red Bonney Lake Alert system.
We do have some operators already, ham
Yes.
operators.
Yep, and they live
Already
locally.
on
So
hand. Oh, that's great. We might need one.
I
You never
know.
know. I
Might
mean,
need one.
conspiracy theory.
we might need one.
I just keep thinking of the In Living Color skit with Jim Carrey. Woodchuck the Gray Squirrel, Woodchuck the Gray Squirrel.
Well, we tested them even last week. Red flag warning coming in. I got them on the phone and said, okay, this is prepare yourself, find yourself how to get into the facility. So I'm just trying to engage them more. And
What's the red flag warning?
the red flag warning that
Yeah.
we had last week. So we're actually it was Friday and Saturday. Where
the heat
The
index, right?
the fires or
it's when we have the most likelihood for if a fire were to start, it could spread easily. So our humidity was extremely low, our temperature was high, our fuels are all dry, and wind. Thank you. Like I'm missing something, and wind. So yes,
it's kind of like a warning, like it's the perfect storm.
exactly.
Be aware.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to report number 4, Prosecutor's Office Monthly Report. Dina.
All right, thank you. So August was a busy month. We had a total of 531 hearings, which is way up from July. We only had 390 in July. We had 39 arraignments, so those are our new charges. We had 177 pretrials, so that's somebody who's still going through the process. And we also had 28 SCORE and custody hearings, so SCORE jails up in Des Moines, and we're utilizing them. They're expensive, but they do take defendants that other jails will reject for like medical or mental health reasons. The other big thing we're working on is the electronic file management software. prosecutor by Carpel. Our go live date is mid-December, and we're getting all of our templates and everything set up to be uploaded into their system.
When you say their system, who is that?
It's prosecutor by Carpel.
Okay.
So they basically, we're going to go, they don't say completely paperless, but mostly paperless. So all of our files for cases will be on PBK. It's a system that I guess we access through our computer, and also all of our templates, like the letters that we send to victims. I'm trying to think of what other templates. Our complaints are all going to be electronic now.
All right. You have any questions?
Mm-mm.
All right, thank you. We'll go to business action item number 1, AB 22-126, motion authorizing out-of-state travel. Chief Jeter.
Thank you. Our auto theft detective Vance has requested to go to the Western States Auto Theft Investigators Training Conference in Lake Tahoe in October. This is 100% reimbursed by the task force. We just have to front the money, and since this wasn't in the budget, I'm coming to council. No cost. It'll be Detective Vance is new to the task force. He started in March. So any kind of training of this sort that he can get, and as I alluded to earlier, our auto thefts are up 4 times what they were last year at this time. So any training we can get him would be fantastic.
I have no problem with that. The question I did have, though, is how is he getting there?
Flying.
Okay, because the airfare was marked no with no cost.
I think that's something that they may have taken care of.
Oh, okay.
But I think we have to do the hotel and the per diem.
Good. 55 for 3 nights in Tahoe. It must
Do we
be
need to
worth
vote
it.
on that, or is that going to
Cheap.
go to consent agenda?
I have no problem with that going to consent if you guys
Should we,
Chief, is that on tonight?
think it
Yes.
is, yeah.
we
Already for
vote on
consent.
that? I guess yes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to vote, just to,
Okay.
if everyone's in favor of that, let's
Mhm.
move it to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 2, AB 22-141, Resolution 3091, Hazard Mitigation Grant Application for Emergency Backup Generator. Regine?
Yes, so spoken about this a couple of times now in this meeting. We initially had submitted a pre-application be able to purchase a generator for this. We're invited to submit our full application last month. We knew it was going to be a pretty tight turnaround. That turnaround is Friday. So we have done quite a bit of legwork on it. We finally received our quote back from the vendor that we would utilize for the generator and all costs. And so essentially now at this point, I just need permission to go ahead and apply for the grant. When I was here last time, we thought we would be around the 750,000 mark, which is what we had initially asked for. The initial quote that we have now received is actually under 300,000.
Oh,
So substantially less than we thought. Also, when I was here last time, the grant was what we refer to as a 75-25, which means the federal government reimburses 75%, and then the 25% is split between us and the state. However, we've been notified that it's actually a 90-10, which means the feds cover 90%, and then we share the 10% with the state, 5 and 5.
Mm.
So if we really do actually come in at 300,000 final project, we are looking at $15,000 out of pocket. So, and a lot of that we can actually use staff time to match that amount. So not actually that much of it would come from our dollars.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
yeah.
it's a pretty phenomenal opportunity. Because we have a hazard mitigation plan approved from FEMA, and generators are a prioritized project, an eligible project for us to propose under. So basically, I'm just asking for permission to go ahead and submit the application, and for the mayor to approve it.
It's a
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think it sounds
Yeah,
great.
15,000, yeah.
Yeah,
For
it's
half
We
the
should
price
get
of a new
two.
Wow.
car. Yeah.
We should get two.
Yeah.
for a significant
One
new
for
rating.
the police
Okay.
department.
Yeah, no, that's great.
We will have work to do to really get into the fine details of where we'll place it,
Yeah.
and so forth, but it's coming in much under the budget we thought it would be.
So this will be added to item 7 on our normal council meeting under Public Safety Committee issues tonight to be voted on because of the Friday turnaround.
Okay,
So there will be an agenda modification on that.
okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
That was incredible.
We kind of discussed
Can
Can you,
that
can
in our
you
last
get that for the
meeting,
public
so,
or
yeah.
for the public safety building too?
That's that next for next time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get two for that
We
price
already
because
have it ordered,
that's
so if you
less.
want to throw it out.
That's still
I mean,
less
yeah,
than the one
upgrade.
that we originally approved you to apply for.
And we just need to get some extension for them. It's not that far. Thank
No
you.
more jerry rigging. No duct tape.
All right. The last thing on our list is the approval of our meeting minutes from August 9th. Any corrections? Good job, Debbie. Now we'll go into open discussions.
All right, yeah, so I actually received a phone call today from a citizen who is extremely concerned, and I was told that if I brought up the neighborhood, the police chief would probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But Spring Haven has had just last night, I believe, they had a license plate stolen, which suggests nefarious activity about to happen. They've had cars stolen, catalytic converters, and they understand that, the police's force, your hands are kind of tied in certain situations, and there's, but so the suggestion was, is there any way, because these are public streets and the city owns these streets, is there any way that these communities could be gated to help with the police, to not have to be called in? I know it's not a cure-all, but it definitely is a deterrent. But Spring Haven has 4 ways in and out of the neighborhood, I guess. And so I don't know if there's any suggestions or if they need to hire a private security company to come in and do drive-bys, and drive through the neighborhood at night. But a lot of people are getting cameras. They've talked about putting cameras at the entryways. But as you see, last night with the stolen license plate, I said you might want to make sure that whoever got their license plate stolen reports that it's stolen, because you don't want something to come back on you and have the police knocking on your door, right? But so a lot of times when you're getting pictures of these cars coming in and out of the neighborhood, they may or may not be stolen. They may or may not have stolen license plates. You just don't know. Any suggestions on how they can protect themselves? What we can do as a council or as a city? Should we start making arrangements to help these HOAs become gated if they don't have, public access to drive through? Like, it would be hard with Sky Island Drive because everybody uses that public road to get to work and to get to the 410. But if they don't have direct access to the 410, is there something that we can do? Do you have any suggestions? What can be done?
Unfortunately, it's not just the Spring Haven neighborhood. I know they're
Exactly.
the ones that contact you, but as
Yeah.
I said earlier, our crime statistics and calls for service are way up. It's a citywide, it's a statewide issue, if not a national issue. But as far as gating, I don't believe that we can gate city streets. John, you may know more about that.
We couldn't gate a public street, a public right of way, so we'd have to vacate the right of way. They would have to pay us for the value of the right of way. And an important thing for them to consider is that they then become responsible for all the maintenance, including the
Yeah, I'm the game.
so that's quite an expensive endeavor that more likely than not, the HOA would not want.
May I add some? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. I think I think the fire department's not here, but they would also have concerns about access. They would have to be involved in the process too to ensure access to the homes in case the home catches on fire.
Yeah, I'm in a gated area, so I know that they can just push a
Yeah.
button and it opens right away for
Yeah,
them.
most of them are off the
But-
phone too. They can.
The other question is, I know that some of the cities and communities, the police departments, the police chiefs, or the sheriffs, or whatever. And I'm not sure if we did that, but they got together and they wrote a letter to Governor Inslee requesting that he go back to the state legislature and help us to protect our people because, and I don't know if we've done something like that or if we could get involved and maybe as a city council, police chiefs and go with Buckley and Enumclaw and Sumner and all kind of come together and send a letter, letting him know that he's not creating a safe environment for the communities.
It's certainly something we do. I know King County, a lot of agencies in King
Yeah, I
County
think
did
that's
that.
what
I
it
said
was,
I sent something like that to them.
Yeah, I think
Council.
that's what I got a hold of.
Because, yeah, certainly the council can do that, and I would be very supportive of that. Tomorrow, I actually have a Chiefs Association, we have our legislative meeting to get our priorities for the session. So a lot of it circles on that. It is getting some of these laws back where they can be enforced and make a difference. That's certainly something that we could do. As far as an immediate impact, we are trying to patrol when we can, and if we catch somebody in the act, we certainly can arrest them. Then, as we have discussed at length, the problem becomes: is there jail space? Will they take them because of COVID restrictions? Because it's not a violent offense? Probably, I would say 8 times out of 10, if it's a felony and it's not violent, they're not going to go to jail. If it's a misdemeanor and we have jail space, they're going in. I've made it known to our officers if they have people and we have bed space, we want Bonney Lake to be known that you're going to be held accountable if you're caught committing a crime here. So we have 4 beds at Enumclaw that we try to keep full at the beginning of every shift. Shift supervisor sees how many beds there are. We've got backup at Puyallup. Then SCORE would be our next one, as Dina alluded to. It's very expensive to book at SCORE, but sometimes our high maintenance people who either have mental health conditions or substance abuse issues, they can handle that. So it's worth it for them to go. I think we still have one of our high users of the system, Dina, correct me if I'm wrong, is still in SCORE. It's been in there for a while. I think you and I discussed that
Right.
a while back, but hopefully she's getting the help that she needs. But this was a drain on police and fire services. So there isn't a silver bullet, unfortunately. Extra patrols, I know I saw it go out, extra patrols in that neighborhood, an email came out about that. And they're trying to do the best they can, but if we catch somebody in the act or we have evidence, our detectives do a fantastic job of following up on these things. If we catch somebody on camera, they have information they can follow up on, they're definitely following up and prosecuting on that. And Dina does a great job with our officers holding them accountable, especially if it gets kicked back from the county. We would prefer to have them in municipal court because I have faith that Dina's going to hold them accountable more so than at the felony levels. I just know they're overwhelmed at the county level. So I think the accountability is probably far greater at the local level. It's just catching them, following through on that.
So this is actually my and one of the questions that I have been asked, if it's something, if the HOA can pay an off-duty officer once a week, a couple times a week to be patrolling. I know I heard you say like a couple of extra patrols in there, but if it alleviates some of the pressure of having to reroute on-duty officers, is it an option for them to pay for an off-duty officer?
Absolutely. They can hire private security. They can hire our officers. It's just that it's not cheap, number one, and it's not. It does help, but again, they can't be there 24/7.
Understood.
But yeah, that's the problem. Is usually when a lot of these things are going on, it's the busy time in the city, so our officers are busy handling calls. And by the time they get around to actually doing patrols in neighborhoods, the activity's over, and then we're left to follow up the next day with what's happened overnight or during the time when the officers were busy, because our stats are showing that about 10 in the morning till just short of midnight is our busy time. It used to be like 1 in the afternoon till about 10 at night was our busy time, and now it's just loaded. So that is a possibility. Private security is a possibility. I know that the View by Vintage uses private security. And that's one thing I forgot to mention, Justin, is during my report, it wasn't in here because it happened after the report, that we had actually had a shooting at the View by Vintage. It was a party where an argument had started. A gentleman was shot in the stomach. He survived. We got the suspect in custody. But again, going back to the private security, that's what the View by Vintage, and they do a certain amount of car patrols and foot patrols, combination of both. And what they basically do is observe and report. So if they saw something, they would call us. But a lot of times, if they see somebody, anybody driving through the neighborhood, they'll go somewhere else. Another option is neighborhood watch. I don't know how close you guys are, but Dennis Harrison he's our community service officer who would coordinate a neighborhood watch, like a block watch. And if people wanted to volunteer, obviously they couldn't be armed or anything like that, but they could volunteer for shifts to drive through the neighborhood and let us know when they're out there. And then they could observe and report and do the same thing as private security. It's just that I know everybody works and nobody has a lot of time to do that, but that's another option that we could do is a block watch in that area and have people, if they see something suspicious, call it in. That's what we always try to tell our citizens is, you know what's going on in your neighborhood and what's supposed to be there and what isn't supposed to be there. So if you see something suspicious, call. And we hear every time in our Citizens Academy, well, we don't want to bother you. That's what we get paid to do. You're not bothering us. We want to make sure our community is safe and we want to catch these people too. So that's another thing that might be able to make it work.
So if they decide that they want to look into
you can have them ask for me, and then usually we it all gets run through the city, but we have a sergeant who handles our off-duty stuff. So I would just route that to that person, and the hours are. And
seems to be overnight. We've kind of narrowed it down based on camera activity and when the thefts are happening. So
the other thing with Block Watch is Dennis can come and do a community meeting too, and give some ideas to your citizens, residents in there on things a little bit less desirable to thieves. So he's more than willing.
You
sorry,
mentioned the
again,
citizens.
Sorry. Can I say?
oversight?
Can I
Oh,
say
I'm
something?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it possible then with Bonney Lake being, a smaller department, and let's say, there isn't an ability to be able to fill, especially with the numbers going up, like, is it possible for them to hire an off-duty officer from a larger department like Pierce County?
Yes and no. We prefer they didn't because
Okay.
it's in the city.
Right.
We
Okay.
always try to fill it with our own folks first,
Okay.
just because they're familiar with the process
Right.
and they would be able to handle the situation.
Okay.
But that is something that we can look at if
Okay.
we can't staff it.
Right.
We can do that.
Okay.
Because a lot of times during the holidays, Walmart wants to hire extra security and we don't have enough staff.
Right.
So we
Okay.
offer it up to Buckley, to Sumner,
Gotcha.
Pierce County.
Okay.
So that would be an option too.
Okay. The
It's
funnel would
farther
come
down the
through
list for
Bonney
me,
Lake
but-
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You had mentioned also something about a legislative update. Is that something you were going to do in person tomorrow? Or
No,
something
it's
you were
via
gonna-
Zoom. It's
Okay.
in Union Gap, and I really don't feel like driving to Union
It's
Gap tomorrow.
what time is that and when is that? And is that only for?
Yeah, it's for members of the Chiefs Association.
Okay.
It's at 10 o'clock, 10 to noon.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's virtual.
And then you said is there still a Citizen Academy that is going on here?
We're
in
going to
Bonney
have
Lake?
one in the spring. Yes,
Great.
That's our plan.
Okay.
We're planning on bringing that back.
Excellent.
We were going to do it last
That
year, but
was
our
my
CSO
question,
left.
so you got me.
Yeah.
Our
Thanks.
CSO went into the private sector, so we didn't have a chance to put it together when beginning of the year, and by the time he was drinking from a fire hose, but he had some time to plan. So we should be ready in the spring for our.
Yay. Okay.
When Tom and I went through it, we made a suggestion to switch it to Mondays and Wednesdays so we could actually attend.
Oh, because
Is
it's
it
on
Tuesday,
Tuesdays.
Thursday?
It was for the longest time, but when we went through it, they switched it to Monday, Wednesday, which Nate actually liked because it was better for him so he can go out hunting.
Oh, so it was dark.
Oh, it might have been Dart League on Thursdays too, but
Yeah, I'll follow through with that and make.
yeah, I'd like people to. be able to attend that.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else in open discussion for you guys?
I just want to apologize to Councilmember Baldwin. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's
Monopolizing.
okay.
I had my back
No,
turned, so I
I
didn't see
I
that
kept
you had
raising
your
my
hand
hand
up.
and I
I'm
was
so
like, okay.
sorry. Thank you. for your
Yeah.
patience.
I got a question. The city of Kent just passed 3 new laws, one banning the sale of spray paint to minors, one outlawing drug use in public, which I didn't think that wasn't already a law. I don't think anyone.
I thought that was a state law.
No,
Well, that is true.
alcohol
Yeah.
and marijuana, but not, according to what Kent did, they said that there's nothing on the state that says drugs outside of marijuana and alcohol in public.
That's a possession.
Yeah.
Was illegal, and now it's not.
Yeah,
Where, yeah, you have an open container. Where you couldn't even possess the harder drugs, now you can, so. Make it illegal to use it.
does our paraphernalia law that we passed a year or two ago cover that, or should we look at updating that
I
to?
can look into that to make sure it's.
Yeah.
To be along the same lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, we did that a couple
We
years
did
ago,
update
but
it,
that was
but
the paraphernalia, so. Now this would include the use, not just carrying it, but carrying it inside of you.
Well, they can be in possession though, right? They can still be in possession. They just can't be caught using.
Well,
Whatever they're in
there is
possession of.
nothing to punish them for. Unless the statute, the paraphernalia statute.
I guess what would this
It
change?
would, this would make it illegal for them to use it. If our officers saw them doing it, which we often do.
Yeah.
We see them smoking it in the car or
Yes.
whatever.
Needles.
This would make it illegal.
Okay.
And even though it's not illegal to possess, we always confiscate it and give them a drug referral. Can't charge them with it, but we confiscate it from them and give them a drug referral. You have free before you can get it.
Okay.
So we're eliminating we eliminated the loophole on the paraphernalia, a potential elimination of the loophole on physical use, which then would still leave possession. I know you guys take it, but legal or
It's not illegal.
okay.
Let's put it that way until the third time. But there's no way statewide to track drug referrals.
Yeah. Okay.
Decriminalized.
Yeah.
And is there anything that we can throw a safety net on to catch that as well on a lower
I mean,
misdemeanor level?
You referenced what Kent did. I can look into what they did to see if there's anything that we can add on to that. I mean,
Okay.
I think what usually ends up happening is the officers catches them doing something else, like a theft. And so we're going after the other crime, which I know if it's just somebody in a car, or just in a park, there's usually some other crime like a trespass or something that
Okay.
they're able to cite them with. And I think that's usually the route they've been going. But I can look into that to make sure our code, if there's another city like Kent that's done something.
And-
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then the third one that Kent passed was a vehicle solicitation ban, which I thought Maley did a few years ago, or at least we did an aggressive panhandler.
Yeah, we do have the
Ordinance.
aggressive panhandler.
Okay. Could you look to see if theirs is stricter than ours, or if they may have added something in the
I think ours is pretty unique because
children or
haven't seen-
animals?
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen too many others. Is that service?
My husband recognized a couple of them and he said that they're pretty serial. Like they're up in,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they're up in Maple Valley. He recognized them.
Well, I was on.
Yeah.
Most of ours come from Federal.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But
Mm.
they come.
The other day we were going to Seattle and I took the Willis Street exit
Mm.
and I'm sitting on Willis and the exit and there's a person that just walks right up and just stares at me like, look away, come on, turn green. So
That's awkward.
yeah, so that might be why they put that particular ban in place with her. But
Okay.
that was the three that I wanted to ask about.
As we move into, don't know, the lake decision, which basically made possession legal, it sunsets. Very important, and that, I think that's going to be our top issue from the Chiefs Association. Addressing that, but it state, local, state representatives and senator.
It sunsets next year.
Yeah,
Do you know
it's
when?
June, I think.
Okay.
Dina, do you remember?
That sounds right. It's either June or July.
Yeah,
That's
one of the
the,
two. It's early summer, early to mid-summer.
that's the knowing clause.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
These are her favorites.
I can't remember.
I stole them.
Anyone else for the good of the order? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Woohoo.